Assalamu alaikum. I'm going to um, do some extracts from my poetry book, which is based on more a kind of guidelines rather than expressions of emotions or something like that. So the first one I want to tackle is 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 that I wrote is who am I? I'm going to try to read it and then explain as I go along. Who am I? Western education. Aim, break identification with family, self, and religion. Main aim, to have dominion over divine union, to press disbelief opinion. Results, disorientation, loss of identification, loss of communion, ultimately family disunion, individual confusion, dependency subjugation, loss of intellection. What I'm trying to say there is the education is structured in such a way that, excuse me, that it actually breaks you from your family. It breaks you away from your belief. It breaks you away from your culture. It breaks you away from identity. Um, you know, and it actually imposes on you a Western culture. That's why children cry when they go to grade one. It's because they know this is going to be abuse. This is going to be like mental abuse. And because they're in a state of fitra, they can sense on a higher level of awareness. They're on a higher level of awareness. I'm trying to take the glare away from the computer on my glasses. So when one is in that particular position, the poem goes on and says, it creates, obviously, it creates an individual confusion. You don't know whether you're Arthur or Martha now, because the teachers are telling you this, and your parents are telling you this, and your community is telling you this, and everything is getting confused. But the main aim of like individual confusion is to create a kind of a dependency subjugation. You become dependent on the teacher to judge you and to assess you and to pass or fail you and break down your self-esteem. It's a dependency subjugation. You become dependent on teachers, dependent on other people for your own progress, and they break away your self-esteem. And so your loss of intellection, you stop thinking. You wait for somebody else to tell you what to do. That's why children at school, sometimes they can't work on their own because they must wait for the teacher to tell them. Suffering political domination. When they've got you there, then basically you can manipulate you in terms of, okay, vote for us, we will talk for you, we will do this for you. So we basically suffer what they call political domination. And also sexual disorientation, especially today now. They try to tell us that sexual, your sex, your male or femaleness depends on the social construct. It's not really natural. We know that's a lot of nonsense, but we don't know. People don't know how to fight it because they so depend on schools. And so they send their children, but they get confused. The children get confused because you need a strong sense of what is right and what is wrong. But let me help people on that level. For instance, they say that this kind of perception of gayism and all kind of stuff is like a natural thing. It's like something which is like it's not something. It's a cultural thing. It's not really natural. And I mean, they say that sexual orientation, male or female, that is not natural. That is like it's like a construct of social design. But it is natural because chaism is not natural. It's not scientific because it doesn't have sustainability. You cannot have offspring from two males or two females. So therefore, it's not natural. It's not scientific. So it's actually a belief. It's actually a belief structure. You believe that. So therefore, in terms of constitutional rights, you can't force that belief in education on people because they have a faith of their own. So the moment you force their faith on them, they have a right to force their faith on you, but that's not an issue. You can't do. They're not allow people to force their faith onto the schools, but the schools now, or the government, or this kind of new culture that they're trying to force it on people to believe. So that is unconstitutional. That is undemocratic because it is a belief structure. It's not a natural thing. It's not sustainable. Sexual having male and female. It is actually illegal in real terms to force children to follow a certain curriculum, which is your belief, because you wouldn't like people to force Christianity on you or to force Islam on you or to force Buddhism on you. So you cannot force that kind of culture onto our children. So due to satanic indoctrination, so it's a satanic kind of indoctrination that they have unfortunately been touched by Satan, leading to opinionation. In other words, not having your own opinion, but it's not really truth. Where truth is relativism, then they start arguing you with you. This is your truth. This is my truth. No, there's only truth, and you have perceptions of truth, yes, but there is a truth that is beyond us, that exists without us being giving an opinion. There is a truth. So when truth becomes relative, then obviously you can get people to confuse people even further, leading to gayism, losing inner quietism. You lose your inner quietism. In other words, your beautiful self, your fitter self, the self that really that knows, because your mind is all messed up with all sorts of different ideologies and things like that. And losing the value of asceticism. Asceticism is to break yourself away from the world and to focus on the Creator, the beauty of life, etc. And it leads to egotism. You start believing in yourself. The hallmark of Satanism. It's right. So I'm better than him. That kind of I'm better than him is the trick of losing oneself. And then the other part of the poem now goes, call upon your real inner divine objectivism. In other words, call upon the Ruach, the Spirit of God, inside of you, that reveals the traps of alienation. It shows you where the traps are. To reunite with spiritual awakening, to reunite your soul and your body to the Ruach, the Spirit of God inside of us, the breath of the Creator. To real freedom from suffering. When you are connected to the Creator, you are actually free from suffering in real terms, because with belief in the Creator, there is a kind of a submission, there's a kind of a acceptance, right? And acceptance reduces the suffering. Whether one is in a bad spot, one can accept it. This is the way it must be. Let me try and accept it, and let me work with it and try to get out of it. But you have this confidence that the Creator is there. That one is divinely confident. In other words, you are connected to the Creator in universal, peaceful remembrance. And that is because you remember the Creator all the time. So He creates a calmness over you. A universal, peaceful remembrance. The universe is like that. The planets and the electrons, they are peaceful. They do that. They follow the path that the Creator set for it, and it doesn't deviate. It just flows. Of one's powerful present existence. We are presently in the moment. We are actually extremely powerful because we are created by the Creator. Free from all forms of attachments. In other words, we don't need anything when we have the Creator. We're not attached to materialism, we're not attached to people, we're not attached to political party, meaning you are not determined by that. If you don't have that car, then you are going to be depressed. So you don't have that kind of partner, you're going to be depressed. If you don't have that kind of riches, you can, or that kind of political party. No, you're not attached to anything to give you value. You are only accept one's ever-present godly connection, except you are connected to the Creator. Now you can see why the world is always the disbeliever against the believer, because the believer is actually free. You cannot manipulate the believer. Even if you want to kill him, you can't manipulate him because he's already in the presence of the Creator. And you and the person who does believe, he wants to make you attached to him or to them, so that they can exploit you when you are submissive to them instead of submissive to the Creator. So now I'm going to read the whole poem so that you can understand it. Who Am I? By M.F. Arnold. I say that because normally, some people steal your work, but um, you you have like that kind of acceptance that this is the work that Creator granted you to do, and you also have a reference point that people know who actually wrote it, and they can make dua for you, they can pray for you. So okay, here it is. Who am I? Western education aim break identification with family, self, and religion. Main aim to have dominion over divine union, in other words, to have control over the Creator in real terms. They can't, but I mean, that's the aim. To press disbelief opinion. Results: disorientation, loss of identification, loss of communion with the Creator, prayer, etc. Ultimately, family disunion. Individual confusion, dependency, subjugation, loss of intellection, suffering political domination, sexual disorientation due to satanic indoctrination, leading to opinionation, where truth is relativism, leading to gayism, losing inner quietism, and the value of asceticism, which leads to egotism, the hallmark of Satanism. Call upon your real inner divine objectivism that reveals the traps of alienation, to reunite with spiritual awakening, to the real freedom from suffering, to enter the realm of considering that one is divinely confident in universal peaceful remembrance of one's powerful present existence, free from all forms of attachments except one's ever-present godly connection. What you also, alhamdulillah, this is only by the Creator can give us the ability to do this work. What you notice is the vocabulary, increase of vocabulary. The main aim here is to increase, as I say, the register of a student. So our students, they understand, because I expose them to higher levels of vocabulary, they can understand a wider range of communication. And so the aim of mass education is to drop the ability to read properly and to disarm people through reading and vocabulary. And so if you do that, then easily you can write a law or a policy, etc. And people won't be under, or a contract, people won't be able to understand. And then people just sign and sometimes lose their rights in the process. That's how they did it in the old days. Okay, colonialism, they did that. They play with words. And so even in academia, they play with words, redefine this and redefine that. And the main aim is to create confusion. That's why in the Quran, Allah speaks about that. This is a book in which there is no doubt for those who have consciousness of the Creator. So, the first verse, the first ayah in the Quran, not verse, okay, I'll tell you why I don't say verse. The ayah first, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألف لام ميم. I always cover my head when I recite Quran. ألف لام ميم ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين. There is no doubt. And for those who are muttaqeen, or those who are really, as they have that taqwa, that consciousness of the Creator. And so this poem basically tells you how wonderful Allah has created us, and that we mustn't lose that connection, because we are actually extremely granted extreme power from within. And when we tap into that ruh, that breath of the Creator, it becomes, the body becomes powerful, and it radiates a certain amount of energy that any enemy will actually notice it, and they become very fearful of believers, um, because because there is this kind of power that they express or radiate, that is very disorientating to a disbeliever, because it actually reminds him or her of their own particular insecurity. So they actually are not cross with you, but they cross with themselves, that they can't get to you. It's a kind of a jealousy. And may Allah protect us, inshallah, from that concept, that kind of mindset. I hope you enjoyed the first poem I read to you in terms of this particular book. You can see it covers an enormous amount of information in one poem. It's not your conventional poetry. And what it does, it actually raises your vocabulary so that you have a wider scope of communication, and that your language and your ability to read and your ability to speak actually becomes your protection, inshallah. So I hope this one works, because the other internet didn't work so well. So I'm going to try and see. If it isn't, then I will have to cancel it today.